What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping into my Old Town AutoPilot 136, how I have it rigged up, things I like, things I didn't necessarily like, things I've changed, things I've added, all of that, everything about my kayak. So starting in the front, Minn Kota, that's the motor that comes with the kayak. The only thing I've switched on this motor is the prop. And I only use this prop if I'm somewhere that doesn't have a lot of grass. So it's like an airplane prop. It just goes a little bit faster. It gets the boat to like 4.2, 4.3 rather than 4 flat. So it gives you a little bit more speed. It cavitates a little bit of water, but it's horrible in grass. So if you're fishing a lot of grass, don't use that prop. Use the one that comes with it, and you'll go about 4. On this side, I have switched out from this plug that comes with the kayak to the bigger Marine Co. I just drilled a hole right underneath and mounted it right there. Used the same wires from the motor. Just cut them, put them into this, and it just plugs in just below. But I really like that upgrade. The original plugs have some, some issues kind of rarely with them, but they could have an issue of like overheating, something like that. So doing long runs like I do a lot, just did that as more of a confidence thing for me. Going back a little bit more, so new this year, I added this dashboard here. This is the Dugout bait and tackle dashboard. I am super happy with it. Like, it is, I feel like I could pick up my kayak from it. Holds everything very, very tight. And you'll notice here that it is mounted to the catch track. So put those aluminum tracks on each side, and that has made a huge difference in just stability for my dashboard. Literally, you can take this and shake the entire boat with it. Super, super solid. So right here, guys, we have the Humminbird XPLORE 10. Running this one, this is my mapping, my waypoint management. It's side imaging, down imaging, everything mapping, whatever. And then over here, you'll see the Garmin 106 SV, which is the 10-inch Garmin. And this is just for my LVS 34 live scope. That's the only thing that graph is used for, but they're side by side right on that. So if you're in the cockpit here, it's very, very easy to use. They're reachable, so you can add waypoints, do that sort of stuff. Right there, nice and easy. The transducer for the Humminbird is mounted just below the kayak. So we'll come down here. I'll kind of show you guys. Right here is that transducer. It mounts right on that plate that's built into the kayak. And then you just have to kind of flip over the bracket that comes with the Humminbird, but it really protects it. It's tucked up in there. You don't have to worry about hitting it on anything. And that runs that guy, that XPLORE 10. So those are kind of my two setups for that. And then I'll kind of show you the powering and how I power everything later on in this video. Over here, I added a track mounted kind of T-bolt here, and I can put this camera on there. That is a DJI Pocket 3. So this is the cover, but the cover comes off. It's not the most waterproof camera, but I keep that right there just to get those better photos, things like that, the talking head kind of videos. Just a really good spot for it right there. Mounted right to that cup holder, just makes it pretty easy on and off. So that's kind of the setup there on the side. In these pockets here, I don't really have a lot, just pliers, sunscreen, and then it's kind of just a catch-all throughout my day. And same thing on this side. You will see here on this side that I ran my through hole right through this little pocket just to kind of keep water out of it, that sort of thing. And that's the bigger through hole that Old Town makes. I took it off my 120 Pro actually. So a little bit different through hole, but that's what it is. It's just the Old Town one. For forward-facing sonar, there is no better pole than Sniper Marine. They're not a partner of mine. They just make a great product, so I run it. They are a little bit expensive, but for what you get, it's worth every penny. I love this pole, and it's just in this little bracket here. I took a rod tube out and got the catch delete plate with a little bit of track on it and mounted that little piece right there. So it's right next to the seat. And literally you just pick this up, turn it, drop it in the water. Super, super easy. Easy to use. It's just the twist handle here to keep your transducer pointed right where your arrow is, and it's buttery smooth. It's perfect. And then when you're driving or running or doing whatever you're doing, you just snap it right back in there. Easy as can be. Your transducer sits right here when it's stowed, so very, very easy to do. One thing we do not have on right now is the power pole, but when I'm using the power pole, I leave my remote. I just screwed it in right here, right where there's two little bottom pieces here for the seat at the lower position. I take those out, and then I just have kind of open screw holes. So I don't make any new holes here. I just screw that right into there. So that's that. This is a Yak gear. I think it's called a gear pouch or something like that. I love this thing. It is great for, you know, this sort of stuff, like crossover pliers or the dip and glow stuff, or scissors, super glue, adjustable wrench, the little Bubba snips. All this stuff kind of just sits in there. It's a good catch-all for that stuff. It's right at your feet, very easy to access. The one complaint I have with this is, I'll open this right now. It is not at all. It's watertight, but it's not waterproof. So it could be me just leaving the zipper kind of open a little bit when I close it. Like maybe I don't close it all the way. I think I've had 3 of these and none of them have kept water out perfectly. So don't put anything that's you care a lot about in there. I literally just leave screwdrivers in there for just, you know, battery terminals, whatever, things that, or just tightening things on the boat, like things that I'm not typically going to use, but they're there if I need them. But they're always going to be rusty and wet. So keep that in mind if you buy one of these Yak gears. They're really, really cool. They're not overly expensive. They last quite a long time. And then there is also pouches on the back too, if you, depending on how your seat setup is. But with the battery right here and this extra bar, I don't use the back ones, but you can, depending on how your kayak's set up. So coming back a little bit more, of course you need your life vest. I use the Mustang inflatable. I love it. It's just low profile, easy, kind of small. And with filming, I like having not a ton of bulk. I add a lot of bulk to my neck and that area with the remote. And then I also run this guy. This holds my DJI camera around my neck. So it's how I get those kind of POV shots is on that guy right there. Again, pretty inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. That's the name of it, but it's just like a neck mount and it's pretty flexible. It's fairly comfortable. It's not terrible. But that's how I do those POV shots. And then of course, have your life vest. Get something that's comfortable that you can leave on. You're not worried about. I've had uncomfortable life vests before and you just want to take them off, and then obviously that's when bad things happen. So just get something comfortable that you don't have to worry about, you know, wanting to take off. Here under the seat, I just have this Plano box. Fits good right there. Waterproof, whatever. Easy right next to me. That's where I'm gonna leave the stuff that I'm typically fishing with that day. That bag is always changing, but it just keeps it very simple, quick and easy to grab new plastics, put them on whatever you need. And as you can see here, obviously the 2 big cup holders on each side. Those guys hold, you know, a full size iced coffee or a Gatorade or whatever. So they're pretty big, got plenty of space in those. The big complaint about these is the water, but it's literally just gonna drip off of your drink. It's not the end of the world. You're out on the water. I don't have an issue with it, but those cup holders will hold a little bit of water. If that's a big deal to you, just keep that in mind. Come back a little bit more behind the seat. This is just the standard Old Town seat, but you'll see right here I have the Yak Hobby risers attached to it. I think these are the 3-inch risers on the back, and then I made some little blocks for the front. So kind of skipped over those, but I'll show you them right here. They're just like little plastic blocks, got some longer screws. So lifted the front, that's probably an inch and a quarter maybe, and the back's 3 inches, just to bring you up a little bit, makes it a little bit more comfortable, easier to stand up quick. So, you know, something I really like that I added on, but just cheap kind of fix to a, not a huge problem, but a little issue that I had just being a little bit too low. I use these KVD bags, little worm bags for some soft plastics, and then I have another one of those bags back here. This is a Bass Mafia one, but same idea. It's basically just a nice Ziploc, but Again, not completely waterproof, so you're gonna wanna zip that up if it's really starts raining or whatever, but this is gonna be my minnows. Typically that'll be minnows. This one will be finesse stuff. And then I have another small one of these for worms if I'm doing some, like, if I know I'm gonna be worm fishing a lot, or I'll just add my worms in here depending on kind of what I have set up. And then this is where a lot of the really cool stuff is on the back of this kayak. There's a lot back here, but it's pretty simple. I kept it as simple as I could. So kept it pretty easy back here, guys. Couple things you need in a kayak tournament: a way to measure your fish. First and foremost, that's gonna be, obviously, you need that if you're doing the competitive side, or if you just want to keep track. If you're keeping fish, you want something that's accurate so you can measure them, make sure that they're within the legal parameters of whatever species you're fishing for. Always good to have some sort of measuring board on the back. And I keep that with the Rogue. I don't know exactly what tether this is, but it literally just, like, you pinch the two sides here, it comes off. And then I left that screwed right into the back of the boat. So that just sits there all the time. There's just one screw going through the bottom there. And then when I attach my catch board, I just slide it in. Because I obviously don't drive with that on, but and it clips in, and then you're good to go. So super easy to do. Love that tether there. And then my catch board's right there. One thing that I did have added to this, so I like being able to, when I'm sitting in my seat, I can reach back, grab my catch board, pull it out, it goes right on my lap, and then I just put it right back. One reason I keep my board this way is the sun hits this side. So the catch board never gets really hot. If you lay your catch board like this somewhere, when you get a fish and you set it on this catch board is going to be super, super hot. So you're going to want to dip it in the water every single time. I've never noticed mine getting really hot. If it's a hot day, I will dip my catch board in the water just to try to help save those fish from that heat on that. But keeping it upright definitely will help with that. And that's the catch bracket right here that you can buy on their site. What I added to it is this little 90-degree. It's a little 90-degree track mounted piece I got from, I might say it on the back. I'll tag it right here just so you guys can see the company that made that for me. But it track mounts perfectly. It's got a little bit of adjustment down here, so you can slide it in or out depending on kind of where you're trying to get. But the way that works for me is perfect. Kind of got it dialed in exactly how I like it, and keeps that catch board, 1, out of my way, 2, easy to access, and 3, quick and efficient. You want to be very efficient when fishing tournaments. That's part of it right there. Getting your catch board quick, being able to get those fish back in the water, keeping those fish healthy, and keeping our fisheries as good as they are. One thing to note with this, if you have a rod in the rod tube right here, you're going to hit that every time. So just make sure that when you're fishing that there's not a rod in this rod tube, or, you know, make sure that you can move it somewhere or put it up here in the front, whatever, while you're getting your catch board. That's the only thing that, if I could change something, I would, but I don't know a way to do it, and I don't really need that many rods. So on the topic of rods, you can see right here we have our Yak Attack black packs. We have 2 of them. This is the 13x16, this is the 16x16, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rod tubes on each side, plus this one. So potentially 12 rods I could bring. Typically, the most I will bring is 11 to keep this guy right here open. But I can fill all 5 here. And then on the other side, we can fill all 5 right there. So they're set up exactly the same. These 2 rods, when they're in there, will kind of pinch together just because of how this is set. And this black pack is not strapped in because that goes in the truck every day. This black pack is strapped in. So these 2 kind of will meet. You could get the little piece on this that kind of tilts it back a little bit just to make that a little bit easier, but it doesn't bother me a ton. I can always get to my rods, get them in, get them out, all that. So, all right, guys, so new for me on this side of the kayak. I've had this set up for a little while, but you can see right here, there's track underneath here. It's just a little piece on this dry box. And then this is the Yak Attack retractor with a ball through it to this sharpshooter multimedia mount. I have always had a ram ball right here or like some sort of like ram mounting system or whatever. And all this was very rigid and tight. So what I like about this is you can move it, like it's tight. It's not going to just fall over, but you can move it with your hand. So like depending on what you're doing, or like if you're, you know, watching videos or trying to rewatch footage on the water or whatever, like you can turn this in there and your phone is horizontal. You're not readjusting ram balls every 2 seconds. This Yak Attack mount here holds my phone super, super tight. You'll notice that this is upside down because I like having this hole on the bottom for my carabiner. So that's why that's upside down. I just like that better, but you can obviously flip it whatever way you want. But that has been huge for me. I love having that. It just makes it so much easier right next to the seat. That's where my phone is. But now it's fully adjustable. And even when it's down, if you wanted to open this, access to your dry box. Since we're here now, we'll go through this. This is literally right when I was just done fishing. So I always keep a rag in there just in case it rains. You want to be able to dry your hands so you don't have those wet photos, things like that. Headlamp, obviously important to have when you're launching at night. Boat registration, you're gonna always want that on you just in case. And then extra shear pins, prop nuts, washer, all that, just to, you know, just in case. In here I have a spare remote. This is for my other Minn Kota, but this also works for this kayak in case my remote dies or I drop it in the water or whatever could possibly happen. I just carry that little spare remote in there. Glasses cleaner. This is a cleaner, like a screen cleaner. And then Sharpie, Advil, just whistle, all the random stuff that you just need. And then the Sharpie, just so if I am in a tournament and my identifier wipes off or I lose my ID card, I can call the tournament director and, you know, write it on my hand or do whatever I need to do there. So that's all I leave in there. Pretty simple, straightforward, but it does open. I use it all the time. And then when I'm on the water, my phone or my keys and my wallet will also go into that dry box. You'll notice also right behind the dry box is this little Minn Kota puck right here. So what that does is connects to that trolling motor up front, and it enables a jog feature, and it just makes the spot lock and all that a little bit more accurate. But the jog feature, what that is it allows your motor to move in 5-foot increments by hitting the plus, minus, or the side-to-side arrows. So that little puck right there is pretty cool. I have it mounted there, obviously, because it's out of the way, and it's just, that's just where it lives. But pretty, I mean, it's kind of expensive, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you're someone who spot locks a lot and like wants to fish around a point or, you know, something like that. That little Minn Kota puck makes that so much easier and makes your spot lock a little bit more accurate too. So something beneficial to have for sure when you're, you know, tournament fishing. Every little bit of advantage you can get helps. So keep that in mind. We'll unclip this guy right here. So underneath the seat, you'll see we have another one of those same Rainco plugs. So that plug, obviously the original one is here. I switched it out to the Rainco, just same issue as the motor. I just don't trust these plugs as much as I trust this plug. So just snipped it off the battery box. Same Old Town battery box, just switched the plug on it. Added that guy in right there. Super easy to do. Just make sure that you have enough room and you don't drill through the back here, because that would cause issues for you. So just keep that in mind when you're drilling holes if you're going to upgrade your plugs. My trolling motor battery is a Lifetime 165 amp hour. It's a good battery. I wouldn't say it's the best battery I've ever used, but it's good. It has plenty of power. The one drawdown to it is in the morning, I'll be going about 4.4, 4.5. And then by the end of the day, it seems like this kind of has like it loses its power a little bit. So you don't get as much, I don't know what it is. But the longer the day goes, the slower the motor goes. Barely, like by the end of the day, you're going like 4.2. So it just loses a little bit. I don't know if that's the battery or what that is, if it's a heat thing or, but that's one of the only issues I've seen with that battery. Besides that, it works great. Love having it. Plenty of power. Yet to kill that one in a day. I mean, that's a lot of power to run. So loving that. And then the only other thing on this side of the kayak that we haven't talked about is the paddle. So you'll see this is a canoe paddle. With the big 13.5-foot kayak, I want something that can get me around a little bit better. And I feel like I'm just more effective with that, pushing off of things, or, you know, I'm really only using it when I'm really, really shallow, obviously. So just that gives me a little bit more leverage, I feel like, to push around or paddle. I just paddle on one side than the other rather than a really long kayak paddle, which would have to go all the way down the side of the kayak. I just like this guy a little bit better for that. So that's what I went with there. And then coming back, we'll go back into the black pack here from the other side. You'll see half of this is gray, half of it's tan, which means that the top of this is separate from the bottom. So this is a Yak Attack short stack, which allows me to add soft plastics, toothpicks, some other soft plastics in there. I have a line bin in here for leaders. Those are kind of the sizes that I use. And then these are all baits that, like, you always want with you, but you're not going to use all the time. So, I mean, I have Sakamata shads in here. I have some janitors, some tubes. I have Senko style baits. All those are going to be in here. Stuff that I'm not going to throw all the time, but you may want to throw it. Bladed jig trailers are in here. Spinner bait trailers are in here. Just kind of that, you know, the stuff that you want to have just in case, but you're not going to be using it quite as much as you're using the stuff that I'm putting in this bag right here. But, and again, this will change depending on kind of where I'm fishing, what I'm doing. Sometimes you'll see glide baits in here, things like that. But try to keep those a little bit more protected out of the kayak when I'm not throwing them all the time, just because they're not cheap. So then you'll latch these guys, and then you can open this, and that's where all of my Plano boxes are going to be. This is finesse soft plastic, so that one's not typically in there, but it is right now just because it's the middle of summer and we're doing a lot of drop shotting. But this is how this is laid out. I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these guys in here. The crankbait one's a little bit bigger, the terminal one's a little bit smaller, so average you're probably right in that 7 range. If they were all the same size, it could probably still fit 7. You figure these two are really the only two that are different sizes here. But those are all 3700s and lay down, and then I can put one on top laying flat. It's just tougher to get to the ones underneath. So that's the black pack setup. That guy goes in the truck every time, and then this guy back here stays on the kayak just like this. I use these little Yak Attack tie downs on the track here. These tracks are the original plastic ones from Old Town, and they're fine. But I use these little horizontal tie downs, kind of rope you have. These are the NRS straps, but whatever piece of strap that you have, you can throw on, and right through the handle there, right here, that thing is solid. Again, you can move the entire kayak from it. Stays on there pretty good. Same thing on the other side, just doubled it up. So this guy back here just kind of sits like this all day long. You'll see up here, that's going to be the GoPro that I run kind of for my over-the-shoulder shot. And then underneath there, you got this guy to hold the cover from slamming back. Obviously, there's a lot of weight on that. When it's leaned back, there's a lot of weight back there. I run my GoPro to one of these little power packs. Makes it very easy to power the GoPro. So that's what I'm running there. And then I put a couple other boxes back here of things that typically I'm not gonna, like these are Kitex. This is more like smallmouth finesse stuff. So stuff that I'm probably not gonna be grabbing a whole lot, but again, you may want it. So I leave it in here, and it also keeps everything tight back here. So when I'm driving with the battery in, it just keeps it all nice and tight. The wires back here kind of look like a mess because they are, but this is an Enduro Power 12100. Enduro Power is no longer in existence, but the battery has been great for me. I've had it for years. Used to run my motor off of it, and then I just bumped it back here to run my graphs. So this is what powers my graphs, my puck, my lights, anything that's not the motor. So anything electronic that's not the motor, that right there is powering it. And you'll see on the back of this black pack here, we are running 2 plugs. So I have the Marinco right here. I just screwed it right into the back of the black pack, and then it comes out of the side of my boat right there through a little Old Town through hole, and then it just plugs in. And then, so that's gonna be my graphs right there. And then this guy right here is just another little plug, runs through that through hole right there. and that is going to be the puck, my nav lights, all of the other accessories on the kayak. I will just run my power pole cord straight through the back here. This cord right here runs to this guy. So this is the newest addition to the kayak this year, mostly for live streaming, but that's going to be the Starlink Mini, and that's mounted right there on a little ram ball. Well, it's this little piece is RAM, and then the other one is from Amazon. It's just the Starlink mount. But the reason that I went to this smaller RAM is because the one it comes with is longer, and it was sticking too far off the back, and it just wasn't kind of lining up how I wanted it to. So I just made that little adjustment, but it sits right there on the back. It's out of the way. I'm never going in this black pack. Like very, very rarely do I go in there. So everything is plug here, plug there, plug outside. The Starlink cable does have, and you'll see it in here, has this little on-off switch. So I can toggle it on, toggle it off, depending on when I'm, if I'm going live or how I'm gonna do that. But everything else sits right under there, make it very easy. And yeah, that black pack on the back is really just batteries and storage. I have an extra prop in there. I have extra stuff like that. And I just run power right out of the back corner here. And it powers all that. One thing I did not mention before, nav lights, you have to have them. So this is the same thing you would put in a boat or something like that. And then obviously you have your 360 light on the back. These guys are on a switch inside of here. So right here you can see when I flip that switch, obviously there's no power to it right now, but that is my nav lights. Very easy to run right there. It stays dry, so you don't have to worry about it, and it's right next to your seat. So when you run in the morning, you don't have to go climb anywhere to turn things off. But you have your 360 light on the back, and then up front you have your two, here they are, boom, boom, two nav lights, just like that. So all on that switch makes it very, very easy to use. And yeah, I mean, without rods in the kayak, guys, that's really the outside. And now we will jump into kind of, the insides and how I have everything run inside the kayak. This guy back here is where most of the stuff happens, and this is going to be dirty and grimy and filthy and whatever because I don't go in here very often, but oh yeah. All right, so this is how we have this run, and it's been pouring rain, so that's why there's a little bit of moisture in here. But fuse box, so you can see I don't label anything. But I know what things are. So you have the Minn Kota puck, and then you have your nav lights. All that's on this side. And then this side over here is going to be my black box on each end. One's negative, one's positive. Pretty easy to run one of those fuse boxes. And then right here is going to be my black box for my LVS 34. It doesn't move because I have it Velcroed. You can see right there, there's a piece. There's going to be a piece on this side. There's going to be a piece down there on the other side. So it's Velcroed in, it doesn't move, stays just like that all the time. I don't move anything. But that's really that, guys. Up front here, really, guys, not a lot going on. There's that's for launching, so it's just a strap that I use for launching. And then the way that these are powered, they run back to another little fuse box. So up front, this is the one for my graph. So I have this little fuse box up here. He sits right in there, just bounces around basically. But it doesn't really move a lot. And that one will sit right there. That's my graph power. And then underneath the seat is the other fuse box for everything else. Obviously fuses, you want those just to make sure that if anything does have a surge of power or anything, it just blows a fuse. It doesn't blow whatever unit it is that we're talking about. Keep it really, really simple, guys, and use a couple fuse boxes. Upgrade your plugs if you have an AutoPilot. That's really the only thing you have to do, not have to. The only thing that I would recommend from the factory. Put those marine codes on, and yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, I have used this boat for years now. I have it dialed in exactly how I want it. It is perfect for me and what I'm doing and, you know, how I fish. So if you guys see anything that you would add, take away, if you're someone who doesn't like live scope, that's cool. That's the fun of kayak fishing, guys, is we can get into places that have zero water, or we can go out into the middle of, you know, the big lakes where all the normal boats can get, and we can go fish the same exact way they can. So that's what I really like about this stuff, guys. It is, you know, set up for kind of everything. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions about the kayak or how I rig something, drop it in the comments. Happy to help you guys out. Yeah, if you guys can, please like, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next video, and we will be back on the water.